Monday Night Raw is on tonight, so here is your Monday Night Raw preview, the show where I tell you everything you need to know and to expect for Monday Night Raw tonight. If you are new here, you have stumbled yourself across the Joe Hall Wrestling YouTube channel. Make sure to go down below, drop a like on this video, and while you're down there, subscribe and turn on that bell button so you receive notifications every time we upload. I would hate for you to miss the daily wrestling videos. So, for Raw tonight, we actually have a couple of things announced and a couple of things that we can maybe expect to see. Starting things off, we do have the Women's Intercontinental Championship Tournament bracket match. It's a mouthful, I know, but we have Zelina Vega versus Lyra Valkyria versus Ivy Nile. Now, for this match, myself, like I imagine a lot of people, I am predicting Zelina Vega to win. Now, I personally am not fully sold on Zelina Vega, but a lot of people are, and it seems very likely that WWE are massively sold on her, so I expect her to go quite a long way in this tournament, if not go all the way and win it. So I anticipate that she will win tonight. In terms of who she pins, I have two different theories on it. I think she potentially could pin Lyra Valkyria purely for the fact that, you know, last week on SmackDown, we obviously seen Cody Rhodes mention Ivy Nile, talk about how she's a bright, blossoming women's star, or whatever he said, something along them lines, and about how Chad Gable might potentially blame her next, or whatever, for his shortcomings. So I think there is going to be a bit of friction between their faction. What's it called? Is it American Made, the faction? I really can't remember it. I'm blanking. American Made? I don't think I'm going mental there. So, potentially we see Ivy Nile avoiding the pinfall to maybe make her look a bit strong, and I don't know. Or, perhaps on the flip side, we see Ivy Nile eat the pin. So, it's kind of... I'm not too sure on what to expect. I do expect that she won't eat the pin. I think you don't say them things on SmackDown unless it's leading towards something, especially just being a few days before Raw that they said it. So, I expect Zelina Vega to pick up the win in this match, pinning Lyra Valkyria. Now, up next, we do have Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. Lovely little accent there. I really hope that's not offensive to anyone. Nevertheless, ignoring what I've just said completely, I expect Rhea Ripley to win this match. I mean, Rhea is going into this feud with Liv that's been dragging on for... How long's it been now? It's got to be like, what, 7, 8 months it's been going on, this feud. I am starting to get quite bored of it, as are a lot of people. It just feels like we don't necessarily have any other proper competitors for the Women's Championship. Obviously, we do have Io Sky competing for it at Saturday night's main event, but she's not really a competitor. We know where this feud is going. It is going to be Rhea versus Liv. Now, I know people have speculated that potentially Raquel wins, obviously not clean, but after making herself look strong last week on Raw, by pinning Kairi Sane to defeat her and Io Sky. Now, I don't think that really is going to mean too much. I think the reason they had Raquel pick up the win so cleanly last week is so that when she loses to Rhea this week, it's like Rhea's beat someone legitimate, and it just makes Rhea look even stronger. Now, like I said, I do anticipate that we will see some outside interference and some shenanigans from Liv Morgan, but I don't think it'll have too much of an impact on Rhea in the match, and I think she will still win. Now, up next for the next match announced tonight on Raw, it is the Wyatt Six versus the Final Testament. Now, in this match, I do expect that the Wyatt Six will pick up the win. I mean, it was not too long ago that the Final Testament laid the Wyatt Six out completely in the middle of the ring, so the Wyatt Six need to get their get back. Now, if I'm honest, I don't really care for this feud too much, which is a shame, because I do really like both factions, the Wyatt Six and the Final Testament. I just haven't really been liking this feud too much. I don't think either faction is being booked properly, and I think a reason being is probably because there's way too many factions in WWE at the minute, just as a whole. I mean, you've got the Judgment Day, the Bloodline, the OG Bloodline, American Made, if that's what they're called. There's just so many factions that you add another two that are perfectly capable of being main event factions, that they're just going to kind of get lost in the shuffle. And I'm not saying they've been lost in the shuffle, because they're both still being, you know, seen frequently on Raw, but they're just not in a position that they could or should be in. So I haven't been feeling this feud. I expect the Wyatt Six to win, but it is what it is. If it goes either way, I don't really care Now, the final thing we have announced for tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw is a Drew McIntyre appearance. Obviously, last week, Drew McIntyre did return to Monday Night Raw, attacking Sami Zayn after his match with Seth Rollins. Now, we can kind of expect that plans with Drew McIntyre are going to be a bit up in the air because it was revealed, throughout the week that Drew actually returned way earlier than expected due to Bronson Reed's injury at Survivor Series War Games. But what I would expect for tonight is that we will have some sort of interaction with Sami Zayn. I mean, you can't not after he's just attacked him last week. I think Sami will probably come out and question, why did you attack me? And Drew will give him the obvious reason. I could potentially see Drew and Sami having a match tonight on Raw purely just because I don't think that is going to be the be-all and end-all feud, Drew versus Sami. So I can potentially see them having a match. One thing I don't anticipate we'll see is CM Punk tonight on Raw. He hasn't been announced, and from what we've seen in the past, WWE really like to announce in advance if CM Punk is going to be on Raw, just because it gets a couple more eyes on the show. Again, when you see this video, he might have been announced that he's going to be on Raw, but as of recording, he hasn't, so I don't expect we will see him. Something we could potentially see is Seth Rollins appearing and maybe forming a little bit of a team, or not necessarily a team, more of like a bit of solidarity with Drew McIntyre, fighting a common enemy. So that is something we could potentially see. It's kind of up in the air and a bit speculatory for now. One thing I do think we will see is Drew deny attacking Jay. I said it last week in my Raw review. I don't think Drew McIntyre did attack Jay. I think it'd be too easy for them to just play it off as Drew attacking him, especially with Drew saying after Raw last week, unless it comes from my mouth or unless it comes from my social medias, take it as BS. I think he's going to come out and say, I didn't attack Jay last week, that was just a happy coincidence, or something along them lines. And I do anticipate that it was the Bloodline that attacked Jay, kind of further that feud. That seems to be going somewhere, especially if The Rock is out of WrestleMania. I think Roman versus Solo, OG Bloodline versus New Bloodline will be the feud to build into WrestleMania with, at least for them sort of people, potentially for Jay as well. Overall, though, Monday Night Raw tonight is shaping up to be an exciting episode. I don't think it's going to be as good as last week's, just because last week we had an all-timer episode of Raw. In my review, I gave it a 9 out of 10. So I am expecting a good episode this week, but it probably won't be the best, the greatest of all time. But we'll just have to wait and see. And my Raw review will be out tomorrow for you to watch as well, in case you can't catch Raw tonight, or if you just want to get my opinion on things. That is going to wrap up the Raw preview, though. I really hope you have enjoyed this video, and as I said earlier on in the video, if you have enjoyed it, go down below, drop a like and subscribe, and while you're down there, let me know in the comments what you think is going to happen tonight on Monday Night Raw. As I said, though, I will see you tomorrow for the Raw review. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.